Thank you, Jonathan, for that update from the sports newsroom. After the devastating news over the weekend in South Africa that 21 teenagers had died after celebrating the end of school exams at a tavern, there have been calls to tackle underage drinking in the country. And I've been speaking to two people about this. Jabulile runs a youth mentorship program which helps children who turn to alcohol, and Tapelo is a man who started drinking when he was just 11 years old. I started by asking Jabulile how she reflected on the devastating events over the weekend.
First of all, condolences to the family and friends of those young people that unfortunately died at that tavern. I think for me, what happened this past weekend was more of a result of what has been, if I can put it, a ticking time bomb in South Africa, really. It's unfortunate and it happened in the worst circumstances. But I think that this is a replica of what our society has become, and a replica which is a very dangerous and a very disheartening reality, really, of what communities and townships across South Africa are actually facing and have been struggling with for quite some time. And at the root of this all is the problem of alcohol, I think.
Absolutely. 21 teenagers. And they were celebrating their end of school exams at that tavern, an absolute tragedy, as you have called it correctly. Tapelo, I want to bring you in here. I know this is a subject close to your heart as someone who did start drinking at a very young age. Tell us about that journey. What made you turn to drinking at a young age?
One of the things that led to alcohol consumption in my life at that young age was simply because first I grew up in a household that a father was not there. A father figure was not there. I grew up in an abject, extreme poverty household, and things were difficult, things were hard. Seeing your own parent having hard times in terms of providing for you, it was something that, so I didn't just start with alcohol. I started with marijuana. I started with, Dacha. I moved from Dacha and into, alcohol. And that was a difficult time because I was trying to cope. I was trying to deal with the actual reality that I was facing.
And you mentioned absent fathers, unemployment, some very specific issues there. Jabulile, would you agree with what you are hearing there from Tapelo?
Absolutely, I would agree. In fact, Statistics South Africa, in their quarter two results, I think it was 2021, they released a report or stats that actually indicate where most houses don't have fathers in there. It's not even coming up to 20%. It's shocking, actually, because it means that the face of South Africa, in most homes, it's not every young person that actually gets the privilege of being raised or growing up in a family where there's actually both parents. Most of them are single-headed households. Some it's just women. Some, even worse, it's actually just children. You ask yourself again, the psyche of our society that, first of all, allows young people, because most of them were underage. I mean, the youngest there was like 13, 14. How does an age like that even enter the door of a tavern in the first place, right?
Are there consequences for places like this tavern when and if they serve underage people?
To be honest with you, I do not think the consequences are stringent enough. As I've said before, I think that what happened here is we were exposed to what we have been allowing to happen for a very long time. Now, Eastern Cape at that Nyobeni tavern is not the first tavern in South Africa to allow young people to come inside and have a nice time and drink into a pulp and whatnot. It is certainly not. I work with young people as a mentor all the time. I've been to taverns myself, going to look for young people at night, being sent by their parents when they're just crying and they don't even know what to do. So I know, and you get in there and you literally find people and you ask yourself, why are you here? And that for me is a much more important conversation on what is it that is so attractive to somebody at that age that says, I'm going to get into this place.
And just so I get a sense of the gravity of the problem as you describe it, Jabulile, you get phone calls from parents saying, I think my son or daughter has gone out to have a drink somewhere. Please help me find them.
I do, and this is not like a once-off thing. So what we do as mentors is we don't have the answers. That's the first thing I really want to just put out there. But the work we do as mentors as well is to really try and assist, because I strongly believe that the problem we're facing with young people in our country has to include all stakeholders. We need an entire ecosystem of stakeholders: mentors, parents, guardians, churches, coaches, whatever. Everybody needs to come in. I think when it's a family member, it's too close to home. So we come in to bring in that face of somebody who's not really
like
in
an
your immediate
intermediary.
circle.
Yes, I
Yes, and we
understand.
do that on their behalf to,
Mm-hmm.
literally fetch, and sometimes we even drag them out. Really, that's how dramatic it can be.
Thanks to Jabulile there, and also to Tapelo for his honesty about what he went through when he started drinking at a very young age. That's it for this edition of OS. Do pop over to BBC News Online for updates on those developing stories that we've been covering, including the Texas migrant deaths. Our live page is up and running. Also, the NATO summit in Madrid. Our live page is also active as well, with minute-by-minute updates as well. Or, of course, you can stay here on the BBC World Service. Our news bulletin is up next. But for now, thank you for spending some of your day with us here on OS. I'm Krupa Padhy, and I'm back with you again tomorrow.